I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Here tonight from the Dover Motor Speedway, it's going to be Chase race number 1 of season number 2 for the QSR Chase for the Cup. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside new co-commentator, not new, I wouldn't say you're new here, Logan. You've been here before, but you're up here in the booth. You're back up here with me this week, and you know, we got a lot to unpack because you've been here at the start of the season. Now you're coming in right at the start of the postseason. Just, I mean, Miles the Monster, that's the place to start it off. These guys reset the field to 12 drivers, and now it's going to be just a matter of survival for these next 4.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been here with you in QSR, or with anybody really, but, you know, as I was telling you before this, I feel like I've done so many races at Dover this season between all the leagues that we broadcast for, and I've yet to see one in the Gen 4 cars, and I'm really looking forward to it tonight. These guys always put on a good show for us, and the Gen 4 cars are just so much fun out here. I think it's going to be a great race tonight.
Dover Motor Speedway up on your screen. You got a quick look at the points there. The top 12, of course, are locked in here. They will be competing for the championship, but the 1 mile oval, Miles the Monster, whatever you want to call it here, it's going to sneak up and get somebody. It chews tires off, it chews up cars, it spits them out. But the problem with this backstretch here, Logan, we've seen it time and time again. As you said, you've been broadcasting here a lot lately, so it's one of those racetracks that you're going to hit the wall, and once you do, you better hope that everyone clears you, or you're going to get 10, 12 cars into the back of you.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of room to maneuver, and that slight banking on the straights always gets people tricked up, so we'll see how they handle it tonight.
Here tonight, Jeremy Burns starts on the pole. We have a lot of visibility issues out here today. Very hazy to start out, but we are green flagging racing live from Dover. Is this 97 car is just coming out with a vengeance. Last week he struggled at Darlington. We got some free wide with Ronnie Joyner on the outside, hard into the outside wall. Joyner rips the whole right side off of that car to save it. Sportsman-like move to not destroy the field, but that car is done.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard one to recover from. Unfortunate on the first lap for Ronnie Joyner there in that 0-0.
And I don't know if these guys, another problem right in front of them there. That's going to finish the car off. That's going to be a yellow.
Well, as we said, it's going to be an interesting one. With all this fog, you can't quite see anything to really avoid it.
Not how you want to start the first 4 races, the first of the 4. Not how you want to begin. He's going to try to salvage this day, I guarantee it, but he's sitting 3rd in points right now, Logan.
Yeah, that's
not the day he wants.
Kind of aggressive driving there to start out the race, especially if you're sitting in 3rd place in the points in the first Chase race. It's kind of unusual to see that 00 make a move like that.
Let's back it up a little bit more. This is the very start of the race. We're going to go 1 lap here with no problems. We get 3 wide off of turn 4. And that's where it all goes wrong. And, you know, just trying to find a camera angle that we can get good visibility of this. It's kind of difficult, but here we are, offset 3 wide. The 20 of Chris Neal's going to keep the middle. 23 to the bottom. That shoves, I think it was the 12 of Vulcan. Maybe got into the side of him a little bit. Yeah, just hidden some visibility here. But then, the very next set of corners, we're right on board here. You're going to see a brush with the wall. And I believe that was Spencer Johnson trying to dodge that. The 22 of Bryson Witherspoon gets involved, turned into 00. We saw it all in real time, but just it all happened to the same car. It was never a break for the 00 of Ronnie Joyner. And I mean, he's trying to salvage his day. He's still trying to come back on this racetrack right now, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, he's too high up in the points to not try to get something, you know? It's to DNF out of the first race in the chase. It's going to really hurt his points if he can't try to salvage this at all. So good on him to try to get back out there on the racing surface. But if this is how it starts, Bradley, I'm quite curious to see how this finish is going to be. This will be a wild one through and through.
It's similar to Bristol. It's a larger Bristol. Same track surface. You're going to chew these tires off. It's very difficult to pass on the exits, just like at Bristol. So, I mean, you can get a good drive in. You can pass at this racetrack, but in this Gen 4 car, it drives like Bristol. That's all there is to it. You're slip sliding around. You're kind of hunting for grip on the exit, and you got to have a lot of faith in the guys around you, and that's kind of what happened there on the backstretch with the 22. Is he got into the wall and the guy behind him went low. For whatever reason, Bryson went down with him.
You know, there's one good thing I can say with all this fog is once this track surface does get warmed up just from the cars going over it, you know, they're not going to have to fight with the temperature too much with all the overcast. So, in theory, this track should stay pretty sticky once they get some laps down on it, and we might see some good green flag runs once everything starts getting up to the proper temperatures.
I think the temp will stay down, but that humidity, that's another factor. A lot of condensation will theoretically be developing on the racetrack, and I don't know how detailed iRacing has gotten with their rain and moisture on their revamp of the ovals, but I know a high relative humidity is also very loose at times, especially on the entries of corners where it's flat.
And I mean, even on the flip side of that, the exits, you know, this track already has a very difficult exit out of 2 and 4. So it's, I don't know, it's just such a weird track in general.
Absolutely love this place in any other car, but I don't think I can handle it here. This car, very difficult to drive. Love it on tracks like Texas, Michigan, and the like, but you know, the smaller, more technical, where you're drag trail braking a lot, I can never get the power back to the road.
You know, that's one thing I have to give props to QSR for is this is one of my favorite cars to drive. It takes so much skill to drive it. It makes for a lot of fun racing.
Well, here we go for the second time today. We're going to start back green flag racing. 97 of Jeremy Burns. He's going to have the 10 of Jesse Gordon fighting on the outside. We're 3 wide again into 1. Rick Wilkins going to complete a pass. Wilkins not been shy to take it 3 wide right out of the gate. 23 in the wall. That's going to be wall up there. Stacks up the outside line, and Terciano's trying to just find a place to go. See everybody crowding out on the inside. That's kind of where you want to be right now, is on the bottom. I don't think you can really make the top work just yet.
I think a little bit more rubber needs to be put down on the track before that top line starts working. But as you see, the 27 get into the back of the 23 there just a tad. Not enough to spin him, but he does get around him.
Wow, contact big time. That 23 car, I think, needs to recalibrate a monitor or something. He's come out riding the wall down the front straightaway every single lap. He needs to move it down just an inch. Oh, around
Ooh,
the 8.
more contact.
It's the Dowdy and the number 8 into the outside wall. He's collected it, but that's another one of those Ronnie Joyner situations where the right front is just pancaked and it probably isn't going to handle right anymore. You can see he's struggling up the banking here.
Even though that didn't look like quite a hard touch with the wall, that still had plenty of momentum to do damage to that front wheel. And that'll really affect your steering in and out of the corners. It's going to make that car very difficult to drive the rest of this race.
Speaking of difficult, this guy right here, he makes it look easy every single week, but we got to say that watch the power going into this corner right here. He looks calm, cool, collected, but he's probably just a 1/10 of an inch push on the pedal, and that car's around. You know, just a little too much. I call it goose egg, because that's what you got to put underneath the pedal. You don't want to smash it. Just too much, and you'll go right around here at this place.
It's so easy to do at a track like this, and again, that difficult banking on the straightaways here doesn't make it any easier at all.
I tell you what doesn't make it easy. You pulled away from the entire field but one car, and Jesse Gordon is hanging lap times right with the 97 of Jeremy Burns. They have went mano a mano, 23.159 last time by. Jesse Gordon is just a little bit faster than the 97 here. He's starting to peek to the inside. You gotta wonder, eventually, is this car gonna wear itself out? I mean, is Jeremy able to save like he normally wants to? He gets out to a decent lead and then he just dials it back. I don't think that's the case here today.
If Jesse Gordon can keep driving the way he is right now, he's got a very good possibility of putting that nose right up underneath the 97, taking some of the air off of that rear axle of that car, and it can get him loose and give him a good opportunity to pass, but at the same time, he's going to have to watch out for that, as Jeremy Burns will come back for him immediately.
They're floating the throttle. I hear a lot of just half throttle through the corner. I think that's to just set the nose. They're on it, but they're not committed. And that might be what I've always done wrong, is that as soon as I transition, I'm half throttle, but I'm only half throttle for like a millisecond. I'm not holding it through the whole corner. I don't know how these guys do that. It's just a whole different style of driving compared to the B car and the Cup car now.
One thing I'd like to point out here for Jeremy Burns, if we could get him on board with the roof cam of Gordon, as Jeremy Burns is going through the corners, it almost looks as if that back end is sliding out and he's able to control it. You can see those front wheels peeking out on that left side of that 97 car. So he's got a little bit of angle going through these corners, and it's impressive to hold it down as well as he is, but that is going to chew up the rear tires exponentially on that 97 car.
Little touch with the wall there by Jesse Gordon. There is some racing going on back here with Brent Allen. He's on the outside of Stewart in the 24, trying to get by him. This is for the 6th position as the 24 gets by. He will be clear down the backstretch.
This is, however, setting up for an opportunity of another 3-wide situation with those 2 cars behind him. Kevin Orlando Jr., Brett Allen, Carter Lynn's all in the equation there.
Really loose off the corner for Orlando, and Brett Allen just about got into the back of him as they came out of turn 4. I'm starting to see a little sun poke through these, just every now and then I'm seeing like a god ray across the front entrance of the backstretch there, and I'm hoping, Logan, that it just, 10 more laps of this and then we can actually see what's going on out there.
I would love for this fog to lift just a little bit, just for the viewing pleasure. Give us, a better variety of cameras to choose from tonight, because a lot of these are just going to be almost useless at times with how dense this fog is.
Of course, one caution here today. Daniel Molnix is in 5th position. Had some problems there last week. Quite worked the race, didn't work out the way he wanted it to, but overall there was a handful of guys out there in that race that just came and went at Darlington. It was actually really surprising to me how many tracks were up and through the field, and then you had the 26th of Carter Lenz who almost battled back to the victory, which was insane in itself. Just an awesome job for all those guys. They had a few more cautions than we were used to, Logan, but overall it was a really good race.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not get to catch that one, but I know that Daniel Molnix now up in the 4th position. He's got the most wins on the regular season, sitting at 4, so I would expect to see him up there battling for the first win in the chase, in the playoffs, get himself locked into that 2nd round as quickly as he possibly can.
Well, this is Chase format, Logan. So in Chase format, we're going to stay with the same 12 for these next 4 races all the way to the end, and all the spots will be up for grabs. So, like I said, with the double zero of Ronnie Joyner having the problem that he had tonight, he can actually fall all the way back to 12th at any point. 24's around. That's Quentin Stewart. And I'm pretty sure that Quentin Stewart got snowplowed down the entire front stretch.
I'm thinking you're right. That's exactly what that looked like. A little bit of assistance coming down that stretch there, and almost got into the back end of that final car getting around him. I think he might have tapped him just a little bit. I wonder if there's any post-accident incident there.
I think he got into the wall. I think that's what's going to trigger this, is he brushes the wall. At least I would hope so. I would like to think that he was not getting ran over that bad. Yes. Okay. Yes, that was on the 24. That's hard to avoid. Oh man, the 83 just barely got away with it there. He got a piece of it. That's our job. Call a spade a spade. Well, if you could see a spade right now, but yeah. That was a mistake by Quentin. That the 27 of Kevin Orlando has no time to react to that. We'll actually go on board with the 27. One more time on board. I don't know about you, Logan, but I can't even blink this fast.
Yeah, no, this one's a tough one to keep up with. It happened within milliseconds. Ooh, more contact. What was that, the 199?
Yeah.
Galen Wunsch.
Galen Wunsch got a piece of it as well, but a lot of these guys are coming down pit road to get damage repaired. Some of them came out of pit road with 4 fresh tires, but puts us the 2 cautions here today with only 2 lead changes. I don't know, if I'm outside the top 10, why not? I think I would come down pit road. I think at this point in the race, you've got plenty of tires here today. I think I would come down, just see if this race does go green from here on out. You've be pretty close to making it, I would think, with 100% fuel in these cars. And you might end up with a top 5 out of it. I don't know. I did that at Richmond there in the Xfinity Series. It ended up working out, but there's also the flip side of that, Logan. You get trapped back here in 12th to 20th position. That's where the action is. On every one of these restarts, that's where you have that transition of fresh tires and all these guys working 3 wide to get back by each other. And that's where it starts over. And what a, hey, look at that. Ethan Wisnowski, shout out to you.
Well, earlier I mentioned that these cars are one of my favorites to drive, and it takes a lot of skill to do so, being that these cars are so hard to see out of already with how low that front nose sits and how high the rear bumper sits. There's really nothing that you can see past the car in front of you, as you just saw with that accident with Quentin Stewart there. It's just, with that onboard with Kevin Orlando Jr., there was just no time to react, and it's just so difficult to see around these cars.
Yeah, once that mistake is made, it's pretty much over from there. You know, you just you're just part of the wreck at that point, and you can't react to it. That's the other thing we talked about at the very beginning of this race, is that you gotta stay up near the wall. There's nowhere for these other cars to go. So if you go long ways across this straightaway, the likelihood of a car hitting you improves dramatically. So you're better off to just glue it to the wall and pray that everyone can get past you. Unfortunately for the 24, he had a car right behind him that wasn't able to react in time. And so, similar to Bristol, right on those turn exits, that's where we're going to see a lot of this carnage today.
Looking through some of the pit stall information, Quentin Stewart not in there very long. He might have gotten a little bit of damage repaired, but he's going to be out there with pretty well the same damage on that car. Sitting now back up in 17th position.
So he got a little bit of it fixed. That car's not in too bad a shape. I think he'll be okay. Could probably get back up here in the top 10 with that machine, but beyond that, it's going to be a little bit difficult. 97 going to take the green flag for the 3rd time here. Lap 32 about to be underway out of the restart zone, and looks like Trenton Wilkins going to get to the inside of Jesse Gordon. Misshift there for the 2 of Molnix, and to the inside is nailed. Outside 26 of Lynn. It's turbulent back here from 5th on back. Contact with the 20. This looks like a classic Rusty Wallace, Tony Stewart side by side out of turn 4. Dale wants the spot away from Molnix. He gets it, but he has to slide job into the wall. He takes the 2 with him. The 26 is around another yellow here. This one's a bigger one.
And that was just a domino effect of cars hitting each other there.
Carter Lenz and Chris Nail will probably not be too happy with Daniel Molnix on that one. We'll go back and try to defend him, but from what I saw, the 20 was clear and then he wasn't. Here the best we can from the blimp camera. Maybe try a drone. I mean, I know Lynn sent it in there to get clear, but that's on Molnix to lift out because you know he's going to be slower on the exit. We'll ride on board with him here. Back this up on the right front suspension. They pinched each other into the entry of this corner, so that kind of limits the 20. What he can do.
A lot of assistance there from Molnix, putting the 20 into that outside wall and then just absolutely rammed from behind.
I believe that was the 27 that got into 26 and sent him into Molnix. Let's back that up as well. quite sure where Orlando was going to go there.
I hate to say it, but that looked like a classic case of ARCA braking.
Yes, it did. Sometimes, I think some guys just have their smoke not rendering. They turn it off. Maybe the graphics can't handle it. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if there's an underlying reason, because you can tell the reaction time is there. Once they're in it, they're trying to get out of it. But it's the initial things that they can't see through other cars. It's usually what causes a big clog up. Not to mention that we can't really see past the front stretch today. So smoke, even if it was rendering, probably blending in a little bit here with the environment.
Yeah, very well could be doing that. And at the same time, you know, knowing how these cars drive, it could have been that 27 car avoiding getting hit from behind himself and trying to just power through it and just not working out for him.
Nonetheless, we've got a lot of broken race cars and 3 cautions here very early, 36 laps in. Seems like the nerves have been turned up a little bit here this week, Logan, with everything resetting in the top 12. These guys are just a little more anxious than they have been all season long. This actually off to a little bit more of a frustrating start for a lot of cars that are in the top 12, and that's only going to add to that intensity when you have guys like Daniel Molnix that know they're fast. 00 Ronnie Joyner, who's 24 laps down, probably done for the day. But you start working more and more of these guys deep into the field, you're going to create a new scenario where they feel like, well, I'm losing points, I have to get back up there. They end up making mistakes and take other guys out.
Yeah, which you just really can't afford to have this late in the season. And I mean, I understand, you know, it is points time. This is where it counts the most. There's a lot on the line coming down at the end of the season, but you still have to try to have good racecraft.
And these guys have definitely shown that over the course of this season. In fact, it took them about 4 weeks to actually get their caution count above 2. Caution-free racing at the start of the season. The same goes for the Xfinity Series as well. On Tuesday, they've done very well. There's just certain tracks, and you know, Dover's one of those places. Martinsville's definitely another one. Bristol is definitely one of them. There's just certain tracks that you can't escape each other, and you're inevitably you're going to get into each other. Let's see if the pace car can stay off the resurface here for the next roughly 70 laps to go. We get set back to go green. Jeremy Burns a little early on that jump there. I think he might get a black flag for that one.
That would be a worst case scenario for that 97 car right now.
I'm not entirely sure if they have the restart zones turned on or not. But iRacing will black flag you for not maintaining pace speed before you get to that section of the racetrack. So we'll have to go back, and I'm going to watch this from probably a blimp camera here, Logan. But you tell me here. We're going to fast forward this just a little bit as the pace car pulls off. But maybe from a drone camera, I just don't have a good angle on any of this here. But here is in slow motion this restart, and right there is where Burns goes. That restart zone's not for another 20 feet.
Yeah, he was very early on that restart.
So yeah, hopefully for his sake, they don't have those turned on here today, because that would not be a good situation for him. He would definitely have to bring it down pit road for a pass-through penalty, and he would definitely lose the lead and probably a lap here at the Monster Mile. Side by side, they're briefly back. Austin Downey, who got sent to the outside wall, pancaked the whole right side of the car. He's fighting with the 27, who saw his fair share of squabble today. races for 11th spot. The 18 had the race for 16th 2 times today. Back up, of course, the top 10 now. On board Witt, got number 8. Party is here. See it right on the wall. Oh, but
Very fitting flag to have.
That is definitely party time with that line right there. Just trying to hold on to it. He is keeping pace relative to these guys in front of him. There's a couple cars. Mike Petrin up here in 9th. Probably will get chased down by the 8 of Dowdy. I have to venture to say that Wyatt Walker will be a car that gets chased down by Dowdy. So, good chance that the 8 can make it up here into the top 10 before it's all said and done. Another guy that we're worried about making it back up, he's starting to recover now. Stewart at 24. Just so difficult to pass here. Terciano and the 27 of Kevin Orlando went side by side there for around 3 laps before Terciano was finally able to clear and clean. And we don't want a repeat of what we just saw with Chris Nail and Daniel Mullins.
Back just a little bit further, the 92 of Mitchell Costner able to get around Ethan Wisnowski very cleanly. Now he's going to try to hunt down the backside of that 27 of Kevin Orlando Jr. He's got the speed to do it.
I unfortunately do not have telemetry today for the 75 of Chuck Sweeting. I'm going to talk a little bit about his start of the day. He actually started the race up in the 3rd position, I believe. 2nd or 3rd position. I don't have accurate telemetry, and ATBO just, that's what you get. So, for all you Chuck Sweeting fans, he started up in the front row, I believe, and has fallen back to 5th, and Jeremy Burns has pulled away from Jesse Gordon by about 1.5 seconds. Logan, there was 2 opportunities to do what I said. That first caution there that fell on about lap 28, I believe it was, where I said I would bring it down pit road. Then we have a caution just about 6 laps later, 5 laps later. Definitely would bring it down pit road. If I'm outside this top 10, and guess what? Some people listened, some people didn't. We've got guys that are on a little bit fresher tires, working their way back through this field.
Yeah, I have to say I would agree with you on that, Bradley. That's fresh tires are going to be everything on this track, especially with only 105 laps. You might as well take advantage of as many tires as you can with all the cautions. So it's good to see the mix-up between some of these drivers out here on the fresh tires and some of them not. It really puts a different twist on things for the entire race.
Well, and my mentality about it is Jerry Burns can't make it to the end of this race. Everybody that stayed out since the start, they couldn't make it, right? Now they're only 22 laps on the stint. They came down pit road. Some guys totally listened, but other guys that stayed out, they were going to keep going. And to me, it's just that you're not going to make that whole stint. I know that the yellows have been falling, but you're going to have to come in for tires eventually. Because the guys that did pit behind you, they're going to be tracking on you probably a good half a second a lap by the end of this run.
Yeah, easily. Like I just said, tires are everything. And you might as well take advantage of it whenever you can. So I think you and me would have the same strategy in a race like this.
Backstretch with a 1.2-second lead. Jeremy Burns is leading over Jesse Gordon. Trenton Wilkin up to 3rd. Eric McMurtry in the 48th. Quiet day. That's how he wants it. Like that. Sleep token. Oh, and curse the camera.
You see that all too many times from the booth.
I'm really sorry, Derek. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna let you redeem herself out of 4 here before I take it back off. Alright. Just wanted to say I'm a big fan of Sleep Tokens, so I appreciate that car. White Walker is actually turning the heat back up here. He goes by Brent Allen. He's cruising towards the top 5. Daniel Molnix has made it back into the top 5. And that was the stint of drivers that brought it down pit road a few laps later from that second caution after I said, yeah, come down the pit if you're outside the top 10, why not? But of course, Molnix was involved in that second yellow. So there's the reason he brought it down. He's had to recover back to the position that he was in when that yellow flag dropped. He did it all within about 20 laps though, so good on him. The 2 rather, very fast.
Still back here battling Dowdy and Stewart.
Yes, they are. Warm with Quentin Stewart here in the 24. He's holding on the outside of the 8 car. Contact, a little touch. Hold it up there for another lap. Plenty of side by side here. Eventually, he's gonna cross over. What a move there by the 24. That was premeditated a little bit. Wouldn't you say? These guys are having fun back here, huh?
They absolutely are. I've been watching these guys for the last couple laps here, and it's been side by side for the most part. So I kind of could see where Quentin Stewart was setting up the last couple of laps to try to put some distance between him and that 8 car. Finally able to complete that crossover move and able to put a good distance on him. Got about 2 car lengths ahead of him now.
Now on the move, Chuck Sweeting is back up to 3rd spot. He just passed Triton Wilkin. It's a pretty sizable gap of about 2.1. The last time by, the 75 was the fastest car on the racetrack, so he is making up ground little by little.
Just to mention Quentin Stewart one more time, he has now introduced himself back up into the top 10, getting around the 60 of Mike Petrie.
Nicely done there for the 24, and I think Dowdy will probably be in the same boat here when it's all said and done, as he peeks to the outside of Petrie here. He's going to ride him deep into the corner there. He was very happy about that block coming out of 2. And he's having to lift out of the throttle. It's got to be frustrating here. There he goes to the inside. Petrie's going to lift out, but yeah. Sometimes you got to use that bumper just a little bit to let a guy know, hey, caught you from 3-4 seconds back. I know you don't want to give up the spot, but you're going to.
He's now being hunted by a group of cars behind him now.
Yeah, Petron's very off the pace on these exits, and that's where he's struggling. He's getting back to the throttle too soon. You can see that car already scooting up. We'll right on board here. You can see he's having to lift out a lot more than these guys on the exit, and that's just the product of getting back to it too soon. Wearing that right front off.
I would also have to factor in, he does have about 6 to 7 laps difference between the cars around him on tires, so that's definitely not a factor playing in his favor.
For certain. It is working out quite well for Chuck Sweeting, though. Remember what I said earlier about the fastest car on the racetrack? He shaved this lead down to 1.2 seconds. 1.7 overall, but 1.2 to the 10 car in front of him. Jesse Gordon. He's actually slower than Jeremy Burns, but a 24.1 for Chuck Sweeting, a 24.4 for your leader. That's 0.3 a lap. Chuck Sweeting is going to be here in the next few.
He's got a great pace going into the back half of this race right now. And another one to keep your eye on a little bit further back is going to be Daniel Molnix. Now back up into the 4th position. He's about the same lap times as our leader, Jeremy Burns, but he's not going to let that 75 car get too far ahead of him.
On that last time by, he was clearing the 12. So this last pass here is probably not going to be entirely accurate. So let's get a lap in clean air and see what he's running compared to Chuck Sweeting, who just ran a 24.2. If Daniel Molnix is matching his pace here in a moment, he'll be up there with the leaders here shortly. As you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, Sweeting has it down to 1.1. Off the exit there, 24.3, so about 0.05 of a second. But he is faster than the lead cars.
All that's going to matter is they're coming into the last 45 laps of this race. Sorry, 35 laps.
Yes, they are, Lou. Yes, they are. So I had to make me do math. You made me pause for a second to do math.
I know it's not our strong suit, but we get it done eventually.
So the fog has lifted a little bit here today. But I see a difference in lines here. This is probably the reason that Chuck Sweeting has propelled all the way up here. But now that he's here, the line isn't working on the bottom quite as effectively as it was earlier. Yes, he's still about a tenth faster, but I think his tires are leveling off. Because he's running that lower line, he's not getting the exit speed. These guys are diamonding the corners. We'll go on board with him again here. Watch the low entry. They go up high to the middle. Now Sweeting's going to stay down a lane. He diamonds, but it's a lot shallower. So he's not getting quite the drive off. He's getting better through the corner. That's where he's making up his time. But down those straightaways, it's going to be tough for him to clear these guys if they diamond on the outside like that.
You know, you say that, but he's still running 0.2 faster than our race leader, Jeremy Burns, right now.
Yeah, he's gonna catch them. I just don't know how easy it's gonna be for him to pass them. Car in the 54 down on the bottom of the racetrack. That 75 has to change his line there momentarily. Jesse Gordon has reeled the 97 back in, so it's about to be a three-way battle. Exactly 36 laps to go when we cross the stripe. How about that from back? And we have Brent Allen in the 13. He's bringing it down pit road. Scheduled stop here for Brent Allen. Quentin Stewart also hits his stall.
Meanwhile, we've got some racing back here for the 6th and 7th position. Or sorry, 7th and 8th position. Ethan Wisnowski finally got around the 8 of Austin Dowdy, getting himself up into 7th position, but got a couple cars very, very close to him right now. One of them being a lap down car of Joseph Turciano in the 9. Austin Dowdy, Mitchell Costner, and Steve McGough all right there behind him, looking to make a move.
Dowdy's on his way back here. Go back onto the front suspension. Wisnowski's a little bit tight on these exits, and that I think is why Dowdy hasn't went away just yet. He's setting up his corner for the guys in front of him. 24 car on fresh tires. There goes Quentin Stewart by. Very loose out of the corner for Dowdy that time around. And here comes Jesse Gordon to pit road. 97. Jeremy Burns is coming out of the exit here. Where will he cycle through on all of this? Chuck Sweeting's down. Wilkins stays out to lead a lap. Stay out to lead another one here. And he has a hard impact to the outside wall. That's not what you want to see. just before pit stops.
Especially being out in that clean air, that is not the move you want to make.
Oh, down into the wall. We're starting to run out of tread on these machines. But just wanting to step away momentarily here. I gotta get a drink of water. My voice is slowly going away here, so we're gonna take a quick break here on V-Speed. We'll bring you uninterrupted coverage here for the remaining 25 laps here on V-Speed. You're watching QSR Simulations Chase for the Cup from Dover.
Say, God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
Back here live from Dover Raceway, and right on cue, as soon as we went to commercial break, we had a caution on lap 80. For all of you Ethan Wisnowski fans out there, I want you to look away. Just pretend this doesn't happen. This is actually a couple laps before. These guys were getting loose. Right there you see Dowdy into the wall. This is actually off of pit road that this happens. You're going to see this down the backstretch. 5 car. That'll be the next time by. I rewind a little too far sometimes, guys. I'd like to apologize, but the 5 car is going to go for a loop here, and I think it's going to be just fresher tires running him down. You can see the 2 car was behind him there, catching up to him, and move to the inside. Wisnowski just gets ran over by the 10.
That 10 car had a lot more pace than the 5 did, and just couldn't seem to make a move to get around him. Just, you can't quite drive through a car. You do typically have to go around him, but that's not what we saw here.
To be fair, Wisnowski did come off that corner off the throttle a lot. So,
oh yeah,
watch from the split camera, maybe. There's no real good angle of this, but you can see how much he lost the Molnix right there off the exit. And that's what sent that car around. But here we go, setting back to double back up. Mitchell Costner, after this all happens during green flag pit stops, he will take over the lead. The guy that's dominated most of the day, Jeremy Burns, is back in 8th spot. He got trapped a lap down, so he had to get a wave around here, Logan.
Yeah, that's not great timing for the 97, but oddly enough, although wrapped up in that caution there, Ethan Wisnowski going to be sitting in 2nd place on this restart.
He has a little bit of right front damage, but was able to come down pit road relatively quickly, get 4 fresh tires, and we'll see if this 5 car can keep pace. Best lap time at 23.589. We have some drivers out here that have run 22 6s today. Green flag is out. Dowdy's around, spins the tires in the 8 car into the wall. They're going to stay going, but Dowdy snaps it free, keeps it up. Sportsman move, but he loses all of the work he just put in to get back close to the top 10. Whoa, we got a big move here by Bradley Hall to the outside of Wisnowski. The 92 of Costner is loose. They're scrambling back here through the field.
A lot of side-by-side action off that restart right now.
On board with the guy that's dominated today. That's 73 of the 86 laps that we will complete. Everyone sliding around. Pass for the lead. Almost there by Bradley Hall. The 92 is going to get maybe one more lead, but that 23 car is looking really fast coming out of the exit here. Wilkin almost goes around as well. There's the pass for the lead. Bradley Hall takes it over. That'll be another lead change here on lap 88. Burns all the way up the wall. Trying to get around Trenton Wilkin.
He's going to need a bit more than that to get around him, and now 5 car, Ethan Wisnowski all the way back.
That was just choosing who you wanted to hit more. Do you want to hit the 5 and get through it? Do you want to hit the guy that's sliding down to the apron? Jeremy Burns used the right car there. He had nowhere else to go. Back up to 5th now. He knows if he doesn't get to this guy right here, this race might get away from him.
There's a lot of time separating Jeremy Burns from the leader right now, almost 2.5 seconds, but he is cutting it down slowly. So he's got the pace, but does he have enough laps left?
15 to go now as they cross the stripe. Daniel Molnix is going to be going to work on your leader, Bradley Hall, here momentarily. These 2 drivers came down pit road because those other cars got trapped a lap down. They did not come in. They had to get the wave around. So that's why you're seeing such a hefty split here. 9 laps for Bradley Hall and Daniel Molnix. 17 for Jeremy Burns. That's a big difference here. As you see the change for the lead in the closing laps. It's coming down to this. At this point, Logan, I would have to say, if we don't get a caution, Daniel Molnix is going to win this race in a surprise victory, in my opinion, because the 10 and 97, even the 75, I would say, were the class of the field today.
Yeah, absolutely. Up there in the front runnings the entire time. And like you mentioned, Jeremy Burns leading well over half of the laps this race. I believe he ended up about 73 or 74 laps led. So to see him back in 5th, you know he's upset with that. He ran such a great race, and same with everybody here in the top runnings. But Daniel Molnix, we knew he was going to be one to look out for.
Wow, what a shot there coming off of turn 4. We're going to do that one more time. I just want you guys to appreciate what these guys are going through as they're exiting these corners, because this is a handful. Watch this.
Mere inches away from that wall. Every single car.
That's how it's done here at Dover. And so Jeremy Burns has kind of went dormant here. Now he's got a fight with Chuck Sweeting. 97 was picking him up, but now can't get around the 92 of Costner. And Sweeting's going to show the 97. This is how we pass for 4th spot. Well, 5th rather, and now he's going to go after the 92. Sweeting's been a little bit better on that bottom line compared to everybody else. And I think right now in this little short stint, that's going to fit right into his driving style. Because he can get down to your inside and make you make a mistake. He can run you out of racetrack right here. So you have to lift, and that's where he's going to get the advantage of the 92. He can dive it down deep and afford to wash up a little bit here. But good pass there. Car in the wall. That's the 22.
It's like Dowdy.
Keeps it up there. That's the
Is it
22
22?
of Bryce Witherspoon, actually. Seconds, 6 laps to go. It looks like Daniel Molnix has this thing wrapped up. What do you say about that, Logan? I mean, tough break, but at the same time, Molnix needs this. He needs to get points on Jeremy Burns. We got a car on the wall back there. That's Jesse Gordon, the 23. Bradley Hall made a mistake as well. Chuck Sweeting stands to maybe get a podium here.
Wouldn't that just be the ending of this race, to see Chuck Sweeting come back to get a podium from all us?
He's going to dive to the inside. Look at him off the exit really low. He is driving it down to the bottom perfectly. Here he'll get another run here out of turn 2. 23 is going to pinch him down. Sweeting's got the nose in there though. And way up the racetrack here, Bradley Hall hasn't quite conceded it, but he hits the wall trying to hold on, and there goes Chuck Sweeting to 3rd. Wow, blew it off the wall. Bradley Hall just about took out the car. And the 97 of Burns had to miss that and ends up hitting the wall. Quick flashback on the replay here. On board with Burns. You're going to see the 23 rip it off the wall here. Almost hits the 92. And then just wasn't sure where he was going to go. And wow, it's another adrenaline moment. Jesse Gordon would be the next car, and I don't know if he's made another mistake here just yet. So here we come for the white flag around Dover one more time. Let's see if we can show the metallic blue paint in all its glory. The Miller Lite machine, driven by Daniel Molnix, is going to be victorious here today from Dover Raceway. Congratulations to this car. He led 13, now 14 laps, and here he is for race number 1 of the Chase. Daniel Molnix is your winner.
What an impressive drive by that 2 car, and just at the perfect time to take advantage of everything that's happened this race.
Wyatt Walker and Trenton Wilkin were going at it. They're not very happy with each other.
There is definitely some door-to-door action there in the last couple laps. I was keeping an eye on those two battling for that last position, or that 6th position, sorry. But Wyatt Walker able to stay ahead of Trent Wilkin there. But that definitely got interesting between those two.
That was the checkered right there. And Wilkin, of course, Maybe it was more of a congratulatory, like, hey, you got me.
Bradley, what a way to start out this chase. Daniel Molnix with the most wins in the regular season, taking home the first win of the chase.
It was a great show, but we've got a top 3 to round up here. Talk to these guys, post-race interviews and post-race results. When we come back, you're watching QSR Chase for the Cup live on B-Speed.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Back live at Dover, what used to be International, but they took that out, Raceway. We concluded our 105 laps here today for QSR Chase for the Cup and Chase race number 1. It was a lot of fireworks. Of course, you had the changes for the lead, but here is your final results up on the screen today. 4 cautions with 9 lead changes. Daniel Molnix, who I have to apologize to because I said earlier that Jesse Gordon and Jeremy Burns were kind of the class of the field, but Daniel Molnix started back in 14th today, Logan, and he never really could get clear of the traffic until the end of the race, so he never really did show that speed, and based off of his last few lap times, he was the fastest car on the racetrack, so I think he definitely had the speed to win this race. Of course, he puts it all together. Jesse Gordon's going to finish in second, Chuck Sweeting in third, That's your top three. Then it's Mitchell Costner holding on for fourth, and Jeremy Burns, who led the most laps here today, will go back to fifth. Wyatt Walker in the 85 holds on to Trenton Wilkin by 3/100ths of a second across the line. Brent Allen will finish in eighth. Ethan Wisnowski with a very beat-up right side coming across the line finishes ninth. And Bradley Hall, who was leading on that last restart, the 23 car, will round out your top 10.
Up behind the top 10, we've got the 8 car, Austin Dowdy, finishing out in 11th. Quentin Stewart behind him in 12th. Derek McMurtry takes home 13th. Mike Petrin, after some issues tonight, fell back to 14th in that 60 car. 15th goes to Frank Walsh. 16th will be Stephen McGough. Bryson Witherspoon in the 17th position. 18th will go home to Joseph Terciano. 19th will be Ronnie Joyner after the issues he had early in the race with a huge wreck. Got all of that repaired, decided he did not like finishing in 24th and stayed out on the track. Props to him for finishing out this race tonight. And last but not least, in the 20th position will be Spencer Johnson in the 29.
We have 4 more cars to go through here on these results. A couple of them had an early vacation. Galen Wunsch, I believe that, Kevin Orlando Jr. These cars were out of the race. Carter Lenz in the 26. Of course, he got sent over the hood of the 27 of Orlando. And then Chris Nail, who we saw have problems with Daniel Molnix and a couple other drivers there, where he got sent kind of into the wall on both ends of the car, and he will end up finishing 24th, 71 laps down here today. But that brings us to our top 3. We've got a couple of them in here. So right now, as it sits, Logan, I don't have a Jesse Gordon, so I'm going to let you catch up with Chuck Sweeting down here. That's your third place finisher with Logan Threlkel.
Absolutely. And again, unfortunately, the telemetry's still not in favor for Chuck, but he did finish out in the third position. Chuck Sweeting, you got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, how's it going, Logan?
Oh, hanging out, man. You put on one show tonight, that's for sure. I had a little bit of issues there, but you persevered, came back, finished third. And I'm just curious, Chuck, how was that car driving and how was the visibility overall with all that fog on the racing surface?
It seemed to make the track slick, but the visibility wasn't really a problem. I'm sure it probably was for the broadcast because you guys are like further away from the track, but I don't know. It was an eventful race. I went to grid and iRacing crashed on me, and so I had to back out, come back in, and when I did, it was already under green. But as soon as I pulled on the track, we got a caution, and I was only 1 lap down, got the lucky dog. So then I had to start working from the back and get up to the front and avoid the wrecks. And then the caution came out at the wrong time, and I had to take a wave around and work my way back up again. But it was a lot of fun either way, so I can't complain about a third place finish with these guys. These guys are good and respectful and race hard, and it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And there was good racing all throughout tonight. It was impressive up and down the field. Unfortunately, looking at the points, I'm not seeing you really in the running for the chase, but you made sure that these guys knew that you're not somebody to forget about. A third place finish is nothing to forget about, especially at a racetrack like Dover and such a tough racing surface. So again, props to you for that. But
thank you. Yeah, this is only my second race with them, so I joined late, so I'm just getting to know these guys.
This is Logan's second race too, broadcasting, so he didn't know.
Okay. Well, we're in the same boat then. Yeah.
Overall, again, can't complain too much. And Chuck, was there any specific moments out there that you can think of that maybe just I don't know, you handled pretty well everything all right, but anything that really made you think it might not go your way tonight?
Yeah, that big pileup they had on the back straightaway, I don't know how I got through that. There were cars sideways in front of me from the middle of the backstretch all the way to almost to turn 4, and I managed to get enough brake and still maneuver the car by them without hitting anybody, and that was scary. I thought it was kind of over with there because this track is, what this track is like. You're going so fast, especially in this car, and when something happens, you don't have a lot of time to relax. I think there was a lot of luck played in that, but otherwise, it was pretty smooth race.
Yeah, Dover's pretty well one of those tracks known for, big pileups in situations like that, but never really happened all but that one time that you're talking about there. But, again, great job finishing out here in third tonight. Is there anybody you'd like to say thanks to, Chuck?
Just thanks to the league for having me and for all the hard work the admins do and the respect from the other drivers. I'm really starting to get comfortable with these guys. They're easy to race with and respectful, and looking forward to the rest of this season and then maybe going for the points next season.
Absolutely. And we hope to see you back next week and through the rest of this Chase series. Chuck, again, great job tonight. And sounds like we'll be seeing you again next season.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. You guys have a great night.
You too, buddy.
Thank you.
So that's Chuck Sweeting, your third place finisher here tonight. Jesse Gordon has been paged here. He's our second place finisher. He has not made it to the staging room, so we're going to move on to our victor of tonight. But there is Jesse Gordon after starting in third. He led 2 laps here tonight. Kept pace, definitely fast. He was up front there with the 97 at the start of this thing. He was keeping track of that 97 all the way through that first stint, but things kind of got shuffled around after some green flag pit stops, and of course, some guys got pinned a lap down. It was a wonder that a lot of the guys that were up in that top 5, Logan, just before that green flag pit stop cycle, ended up having to get wave arounds. So for these guys to even have a chance, some of them to get back up here and be in the top 3, we're talking about, Chuck Sweeting, Jesse Gordon, Wyatt Walker, Trenton Wilkin, all these guys that even be back up here for this finish. Jeremy Burns, another one. That's an accomplishment within itself. We didn't have very much time. I think it was about 20 or so to go. So congratulations to those guys to get that done. But now let's bring your winner here. He held on, and I'm going to just go ahead and apologize up front, Daniel. I said something earlier in the broadcast, and I feel a little guilty. So I did announce that the 97, the 10, and the 75 were the class of the field, but that's not fair to you because you started back in 13th, 14th position today, and you never really had an opportunity until the end of this race to show it.
Yeah, that was just I botched my qualifying lap. I threw the first lap away and I was going forward on the second, just barely tagged the wall. So that's the lap that it gave me, and it was good enough for 14th. I think is where I started, and just had to. I had to do some work tonight though to get to the front multiple times.
Yeah, you actually ended up with a little bit of damage. If I think back there, Chris Nail and a couple other cars got involved on the backstretch, and I noticed that you threw it down pit road really early. You were on different tire stints pretty much to the entirety of this race, but that last pit stop, how magic was that the caution fell and you guys were on the lead lap?
That was just luck because I think Jesse and Burns and all those guys, I think they were right behind me, and they had to take the wave around. So me being the lucky dog, I was able to go down pit road and grab another set of tires. And I knew at that point I stood a pretty good chance of holding them off because I think they had 5 or 6 laps on their tires. Um, and then just that last restart, I think it was like 20 to go. I just had to, get to the front best I could. And I think Jesse was able to get up to second. So, good run for him. But yeah, right there at the end, it was just a tire difference. I think had we been on even tires, it would have been a good battle with those guys. But like I say, luckily for me, I just had 5 or 6 lap fresher tires, and that's what mattered right there at the end.
Well, and also the clean air, we want to go back and just say that you ran your best lap in that last 20 lap stint. Once you got up front there, you ran a 22.835. And yeah, once you got out there and you were able to run your own line, it really changes things, when you don't have traffic to deal with the whole time.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at how loose these things were behind other cars. And like I mean, these cars are a lot of throttle management. I think that's kind of the deal. I'm looking at it right now. The deal with Chris. I right before that wreck. Me and him, I think we'd raced side by side for a lap or two or something like that, and I could tell that he really wanted the spot. So I was like, I'll let you go, and see you in about 5 or 10 more laps. And I'd gave him the spot, and I don't know if he was expecting me to, and he had gassed up a little early and got loose or whatever. I mean, I may have barely touched him, but at the same time, I mean, it's right there. The exit of these corners, it's pretty much one line. It's really hard to come off of a corner too wide. So I mean, I just want to shout out to him. That was definitely not intentional. There might have been a little bit of contact, but at the same time, there's not really a whole lot you can do whenever it just kind of happens right there and falls in your lap. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it was a good night. I feel like I passed about 55 cars.
Yeah, I made the field double, and I know you got a teammate out there that came back out on the racetrack. Shout out to Ronnie Joyner for coming back out here. He had problems early, but he was able to claw his way back up 5 positions here tonight to get 19th, and that's kind of the mentality that you guys had all race long. Is like, even though we're getting caught up in things, we're going to keep fighting, we're going to keep going, because you never know what this race could be in the outcome. And kudos to you guys. That's why you're up here in the top 5 in points coming into today.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just with QSR. I mean, that's our mentality with anything that we get in and race. I mean, if you put the time in to practice and all that, I mean, and you get caught up in something real early in the race, and you're like, okay, well, I'm done. That defeats the purpose of practicing for an hour before you race. So, yeah, I mean, you just get what you can at the end of the day, because at the end of the season, like, those 5 spots you picked up might matter.
They very well might. That could be a position gain. But Daniel, while we have you up here in the booth, before we let you go, in your first chase race, you're victorious. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Shout out to all the guys at Venom. I say it week in, week out, we push each other to be better, and it typically pays dividends. Shout out to you guys. Put on a good show week in and week out. And all these guys at QSR. We race hard, and I know there's incidental contact and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's pretty clean. So yeah, that's really about all I got for you.
Well, Daniel, I appreciate your time coming up here in the booth, and we hope to see you guys next week at Richmond. Have a good show, have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time, man.
All right, I'll see you guys next week.
Daniel Monex, race winner here tonight from Dover. That's going to conclude our broadcast as well here for the QSR Chase for the Cup. If you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You'll never miss a single race. We have 3 more left here. We also have the Tuesday Xfinity Series, and they have, well, probably about 8 races left, I think, if my math's correct, which it's usually not. 7 or 8, but we should be on track here for a little bit less of a busy schedule. We're ending 2 different seasons here for 2 other leagues. Saturday Night Racing League and Overtake iRacing League will be having their final races from Saturday all the way through to Wednesday. The Sunoco Cup Series will be live this Sunday as well at 8:30 p.m., so make sure you catch up on that. Hope to see you guys there. But for everybody at V-Speed, Adam Baker, all the things he does in the background, our producers, Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith, Christian Hill, and we had one of them up here tonight, the double producer booth with Logan Threlkeld up here. Co-commentary tonight. Appreciate you. This is Bradley Cooper telling you guys to have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time here on V-Speed.